Hello to everyone. In today's episode, let's learn about the 5 faces of the great god Shiva as mentioned in Hindu mythology. Shiva is described with 5 faces, commonly known as Panchamukha or Panchanana. Each face symbolizes unique aspects of Shiva's divine essence, Sadyojata, Vamadeva, Aghora, Tatpurusha, and Ishana. These faces represent Shiva's roles in creation, protection, transformation, supreme essence, and wisdom. Sadyojata, facing west, it represents the element of earth. Shiva's Sadyojata face symbolizes the power of creation. Associated with the earth element, this face signifies stability, growth, creativity, and the origin of all beings. The term Sadyojata means one who is born instantly, reflecting Shiva's nature of spontaneous creation and his ability to generate new life. The creative cycle of Sadyojata represents the life force that drives the growth of all beings, from plants to animals, and the cycle of birth and rebirth. Sadyojata, connected to the earth element, signifies Shiva's power to nurture life continuously. Like Sadyojata, the earth is stable and nurturing, capable of bringing forth new life forms and supporting their growth. In Hindu philosophy, the earth element is the foundation of physical existence, providing the solid ground from which all creation springs. From the perspective of devotees, Sadyojata appears like soil ready for planting, representing a place where seeds, whether of crops or dreams and aspirations, are sown. Farmers, artisans, and creators of new things seek Sadyojata's grace, as his blessings support their efforts and bring their creations to life. According to a story, a humble potter who worshipped Sadyojata sought Shiva's guidance in his work. Every morning before preparing his clay pots, he would pray to Sadyojata. One day, Sadyojata appeared in his dream and said, "Your art is blessed. Everything you create has a purpose in this world. Create with love and care, and it will bring joy to others." Inspired by this, the potter crafted each item with devotion, and people came from far away to buy his beautiful, sturdy pots. This story demonstrates Sadyojata's influence on creation, emphasizing that every act of creation, no matter how small, is valuable and meaningful. During the festival of Mahashivratri, the worship of Sadyojata holds special significance. On this occasion, devotees celebrate Shiva's 5 faces and meditate on Sadyojata, seeking blessings for new beginnings. It is believed that on this night, Shiva's creative energy is at its peak, and those who meditate on Sadyojata receive inspiration and renewed vitality. During the festival, the mantra Sadyojata Prapadyami Sadyojtaya Vai Namo Namah Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavasva Mama Bhavodbhavaya Nama is recited, the sacred Panchakshari mantra. The meaning of this mantra is: I take refuge in the firstborn, verily I bow to the firstborn. Do not consign me to birth after birth. Guide me beyond birth, I bow to the causer of birth. Through this, devotees pray to purify their minds and pave the way for growth, wisdom, and positive transformation. The philosophy of Sadyojata reminds us that creation is an ongoing and divine process. Whether it is the birth of a living being or the creation of something meaningful in daily life, Sadyojata inspires us to recognize divine inspiration in every act of creation. He exemplifies that life is sacred and that every new beginning is an opportunity for growth, beauty, and purpose. Through Sadyojata, Shiva shows his devotees that creation is not just a one-time event but a continuous and ever-evolving state. Facing west, this form of Shiva teaches us to live in the moment, accept our extraordinary potential, and contribute to the world with love and creativity. Vamadeva, facing north, it represents the element of water. Vamadeva is one of the 5 faces of Shiva and symbolizes protection. This north-facing form of Shiva represents the nurturing and compassionate presence that safeguards the universe. The name Vamadeva means beautiful or gentle deity, reflecting his merciful nature and his desire to preserve peace and harmony. The qualities of Vamadeva, associated with the water element, symbolize ease and nourishment, which are essential for the growth and support of all living beings. According to various scriptures, Vamadeva was born when Shiva's powers combined to take on this gentle and protective form. When devotees are in distress, it is Vamadeva, the protective face of Shiva, who comes to their aid. Vamadeva, embodying love and compassion, always extends help to those seeking refuge. Devotees worship Vamadeva to seek strength for preservation. He is revered as the deity who encourages healing of physical, mental, and emotional wounds. One story describes a village doctor who had dedicated his life to serving the destitute. Every day, he would pray to Vamadeva, asking for strength and patience to serve his patients, many of whom were suffering from severe illnesses. One day, a deadly plague spread through the village, and the doctor became deeply distressed. With devotion, he prayed to Vamadeva, and Vamadeva appeared to him in a dream, surrounded by a peaceful blue light. Vamadeva said to him, "Do not be afraid. Your compassion is your greatest strength. My blessings will always be with you. The power of water flows within you. Balance it, and you will help your people." Inspired by this vision, the doctor continued his work, and with Vamadeva's blessings, he was able to save many lives. This story illustrates Vamadeva's protective and healing powers, guiding and supporting those who seek his grace during times of crisis. This story illustrates the influence of Vamadeva, showing how selfless service is empowered. Through Vamadeva, even in times of darkness, divine support is given to acts of compassionate service. Vamadeva represents the element of water and the symbol of protection. His connection to the water element reflects his gentleness, nourishment, and continuity, much like water, which sustains all living beings. Vamadeva's protective energy flows through all aspects of existence. Just as water takes the shape of its container, Vamadeva provides blessings and protection in a way that aligns with the needs of his devotees. Vamadeva's position facing the north symbolizes growth and prosperity, as in Hindu culture, the north is associated with wealth and grandeur. Devotees believe that meditating on Vamadeva brings inner peace, courage, and strength, helping them face life's challenges with grace and power. During the festival of Mahashivratri, devotees specially worship Vamadeva along with the other faces of Shiva. On this sacred night, they meditate on Vamadeva's qualities, praying for his protection and inner peace. During this festival, devotees recite the following mantra: Vamadevaya Namo Jaythaya Namah Sresthaya, Namo Rudraya Namah Kalaya Namah, Kalvikranaya Namo Balya Namo, Balvikranaya Namo Balapramathnaya Namah, Sarvabhutadamnaya Namo Manonmanya Namah. The meaning of this Panchakshari mantra is: I bow to the Noble One, the eldest, to the best, to Rudra and to time. I bow to the incomprehensible, to strength, to the causer of various forces, and to the extender of strength. I bow to the subduer of all beings, and to the one who kindles the light. This form of Shiva not only protects us from dangers, but also helps us find inner peace, compassion, and the strength to face hardships. Vamadeva's message is one of compassion, adaptability, and stability. His story inspires us to embody our own protective and compassionate qualities. Aghora, facing south, it represents the element of fire. Aghora symbolizes Shiva's fierce and transformative divinity. This south-facing form is associated with destruction, which clears the way for regeneration and growth. The word Aghora means fearless. Aghora represents the removal of fear and obstacles, paving the way for higher transformation. Aghora's form represents Shiva's power over death and time. He is often depicted surrounded by darkness and smoke, wearing a garland of skulls. According to some mythological stories, Aghora's form emerged from Rudra at the time of creation, representing the immense powers of Shiva. While Shiva's other faces symbolize nurturing, creation, and protection, Aghora, with supreme power, transforms all living beings. One of the most famous Puranic stories involving Aghora is the tale of Tripurasura. The three demon brothers, Tarakaksha, Vidyumali, and Kamalaksha, were the sons of the demon Tarkasura. These three performed severe penance and received a boon from Brahma, acquiring 3 cities made of gold, silver, and iron. Tripurasura, filled with arrogance, began to disrupt the balance of creation. The gods sought Shiva's help, but the destruction of the 3 cities required immense power. Realizing this, Shiva assumed the form of Aghora, embodying his fears and destructive energy. With a terrifying roar, he wielded his Pinaka bow and the powerful Pashuptastra arrow, which had the strength to annihilate even the most powerful beings. When the 3 cities aligned in a single line, Aghora, with his Pashuptastra, reduced them to ashes in an instant, merging them into the void. This destruction was not an act of anger but rather a profound transformation, purifying the universe from the demon's influence and restoring balance. Aghora possesses the fire element, which is both destructive and purifying. Fire consumes impurity, guides towards renewal and revitalization, and this duality is represented by Aghora. In the physical world, fire has the ability to eliminate ignorance and negative energies, and it inspires the mind and soul towards spiritual growth. Aghora has followers known as Aghoris, who form a community of ascetics. They are aligned with the dark side of spirituality, having renounced the bonds of the world. Aghoris live a life of total renunciation, meditating in cremation grounds and places associated with death, embracing what society considers impure, and thus freeing themselves from fear and bondage. A story of a certain Aghori ascetic named Vishwanath is presented here. He spent many years meditating on the banks of the Ganga river, constantly chanting the name of Aghora. While his practices were deemed repulsive by the people, no one could deny his inner peace and influence. One day, a young man came to him seeking help to be freed from his anger and attraction. Vishwanath taught him that to attain liberation from worldly desires, one must confront their fears and embrace the impermanence of life. The essence of Aghora's teachings is that by confronting the darkness of our fears, we achieve liberation and freedom from bondage. Only by realizing this can we attain spiritual freedom. In Hindu spirituality, the cremation ground is symbolic of Aghora's domain. It is a place where life and death coexist, and all worldly divisions become meaningless. The integration of Aghora with the cremation ground is not to glorify death but to remind us of the transient nature of life. Through meditation in such an environment, devotees are inspired to confront their deepest fears and attachments, ultimately gaining liberation through the realization of life's impermanence. According to a story, a prince named Yashas was tormented by the fear of death and sought Shiva's wisdom. He journeyed to the cremation ground, where he found Aghora in deep meditation. The prince asked Aghora, "Why do you meditate in such a dark and dreadful place, O Great One?" Aghora replied, "There is no attachment here, no illusion. Here, one realizes the impermanence of life and the eternity of the soul." Inspired by this wisdom, Yashas overcame his fears and became a wise and righteous ruler. He understood that his life was not bound by fear but was a duty to be fulfilled. Aghora teaches us that by accepting death, we are liberated to fully live our lives. On the occasion of Mahashivratri, devotees worship Aghora alongside the other forms of Shiva. On this auspicious day, devotees meditate on Aghora to shed fear, ignorance, and attachment. Those seeking transformation and liberation find peace in the teachings of Aghora. They realize that many of life's hardships lead to spiritual growth. During this festival, the mantra Aghorebhyo Thagorebhyo Agorago Terebhya Sarvata Sarva Sarvebhyo Namaste Rudra Rupebhya is chanted. The meaning of this Panchakshari mantra is, I bow to those not terrible and those who are terrible, and to those who are both terrible and not terrible. Everywhere and always, I bow to all thy Rudra forms. In Hindu mythology, the role of Aghora is not just about destruction but rather about opening the path for growth and renewal. Through Aghora, Shiva teaches that destruction is an inevitable part of life, which helps to release attachments, confront fear, and ultimately attain liberation. Tatpurusha, facing east. This represents the element of air. Tatpurusha means existence. It signifies the eternal, all-observing consciousness. It calmly observes every thought, action, and feeling within creation. Tatpurusha represents the fundamental aspect of air and manifests the formless presence of the Supreme Soul that pervades all beings, watching impartially without judgment or bias. This phase of Shiva teaches us that through the perspective of the highest witness, we can view all of existence. It understands the subtlety of all creation, but is not bound by it. Through Tatpurusha, Lord Shiva, in his peaceful, compassionate, and observing form, observes the world completely and leads us towards inner awareness and self-realization. In the early times, when the universe was just beginning, Lord Brahma, as the creator, made worlds, planets, and beings. However, creation lacked balance and knowledge. Beings struggled for survival, lost in desires, anger, and confusion, and the beauty of creation was chaotic. Seeing this, Lord Shiva took the form of Tatpurusha and manifested with his calm and compassionate nature. With a peaceful face and eyes filled with timeless wisdom, Tatpurusha assumed the role of the divine witness, and his presence alone guided creation toward awakening. The role of Tatpurusha is related to observation and approval rather than action. His vision was intended to bring awareness into creation. It transcends the superiority of anger, selfishness, or illusion and is akin to seeing as pure consciousness. In this way, the presence of Tatpurusha brought a subtle change to the world, prompting beings to become aware of their actions, feelings, and thoughts. A story that illustrates the guidance of Tatpurusha is the tale of King Indradyumna. Indradyumna was a wise and compassionate ruler, but once his kingdom was struck by a severe drought. The crops failed, the rivers dried up, and the people suffered. The king, unable to prevent the disaster and feeling responsible for his people's misery, was at a loss. In his helplessness, he surrendered to Lord Shiva and asked for guidance. Lord Shiva appeared before him in the form of Tatpurusha. Shiva advised the king, instead of worrying, you must become an ideal of peace and stability. Only by observing the situation with clarity will you truly be able to serve your people. Inspired by this, the king meditated on the principle of Tatpurusha and developed the skill to view situations with sharp perception, ultimately bringing wisdom and relief to his kingdom. Quickly, his calm and composed behavior instilled hope in the people. The king led them with a sense of stability, and he discovered solutions that had previously been overlooked due to lack of focus. Over time, his kingdom was revitalized, and King Indradyumna became known as a wise ruler, renowned for his ability to lead through awareness rather than reactive responses. This story illustrates the teachings of Tatpurusha. True strength lies in philosophical observation. By accepting the role of a witness, King Indradyumna gained wisdom and was able to bring peace to his people. The connection between Tatpurusha and air represents his unknown, eternal nature of observation. Just as air is everywhere, unseen but essential, so too is the eternal witness present in every living being. Air symbolizes life and awareness, like our breath, with the observing consciousness always present, watching silently without interference. In the practice of yoga, breathing is central to self-realization. By focusing on the breath, practitioners connect with the witnessing consciousness. Tatpurusha's power inspires one to accept every moment of life without judgment or resistance, fostering a deeper connection to the present and to spiritual awareness. The teachings of Tatpurusha extend into everyday life. They help us observe our experiences directly. A story illustrates this lesson. In this story, Dhruva, a farmer, was dissatisfied with his crops. Every year, droughts, pests, or heavy rains ruined his harvest, and he spent his days in despair. One day, while sitting by the river in sorrow, Dhruva saw an elderly monk meditating peacefully. Curious, Dhruva went to him and shared his troubles. The monk, reflecting the teachings of Tatpurusha, advised him, "Observe your mind. Let your thoughts and emotions flow like the river. Do not try to hold on to them or resist them. Only then will you find peace." This story teaches us the importance of letting go of attachments and resisting the urge to control every situation. When we simply observe our thoughts and feelings without clinging to them, we create space for inner peace and acceptance, much like the flow of the river. By following this advice, Dhruva learned to observe his challenges without pushing them into excessive intensity. Instead of reacting with anger to each failure, he began to calmly observe them and find new ways to work with the earth. Over time, his land began to prosper, and Dhruva became renowned for his wisdom and patience. This story illustrates that by adopting Tatpurusha's principle of observing the mind as a detached, witness consciousness, we can gain strength, patience, and transparency. It shows that we can face life's challenges with balance and equanimity. Tatpurusha, as the ultimate witness, represents a serene awareness within all beings. His presence reminds us of the power to observe life without attaching to it or making judgments. Through Tatpurusha, Lord Shiva teaches us that we must be able to embrace every experience, whether positive or negative, joyful or painful, simultaneously and with acceptance. During the Mahashivratri festival, devotees meditate on Tatpurusha, understanding the total vision of Lord Shiva. Realizing that this witnessing consciousness exists within us, they aim for inner observation, seeking peace that transcends both sides of life. During this festival, they chant the Panchakshari mantra. Tatpurusaya vidmahe Mahadevaya dhimahi. Tanno Rudra prakodyat. The meaning of this mantra is, may we know that Supreme Person, and mediate on that great God, may Rudra impel us. This mantra reflects the essence of seeking divine wisdom and guidance from Lord Shiva. Ishana, facing the skyward. This represents the element of space. Ishana is the embodiment of supreme knowledge, divine consciousness, and eternal wisdom. The word Ishana means Lord or ruler, symbolizing Shiva's supreme authority in the realms of knowledge and light. Ishana holds a special position among the 5 faces of Shiva, playing a significant role in guiding devotees along the path of self-realization and spiritual awakening. Ishana, representing the element of space, is a reflection of the universe's completeness and infinite power of knowledge. His teachings inspire us to understand the truth and embrace knowledge, for knowledge is the path to liberation. In ancient times, sages and spiritual helpers from various corners of the cosmos meditated in sacred forests to uncover the mysteries of existence. They understood the nature of Shiva's other forms, such as Aghora, Vamadeva, and Sadyojata. However, to deeply understand the origin and purpose of the universe, they meditated on Ishana. Noticing their yearning for truth, Shiva manifested as Ishana in a radiant form, emanating divine peace and resembling the vastness of the sky. Ishana's vision reflected the profound meaning of the entire universe, and his serene form carried a deep message. The sages and spiritual seekers realized that this divine form held the answers they sought, and with intense devotion, they bowed to Ishana. Ishana is associated with the element of space, symbolizing his boundless form. Just as the sky holds the stars, Ishana contains infinite knowledge. His teachings are endless, emanating from an open heart and mind. The sky represents the potential behind form and creation. Similarly, Ishana inspires those who seek him to embrace inner silence, where the answers to life's profound questions naturally arise. His presence reminds us that, like the sky, our consciousness is vast and holds all experiences. In the practice of self-exploration, one meditates to realize their true nature. The teachings of Ishana possess eternal presence. To transcend their inner ego and understand divine knowledge, seekers turn to the inner path. Ishana's power guides those searching for clarity and truth within themselves. In a mythological story, a disciple named Suman begins to seek the secrets of life and death. She approaches a wise guru who tells her, "The answer lies within your soul, search internally." Following her guru's advice, Suman meditates. Through many years of self-inquiry, she experiences a profound realization. Her soul becomes one with the universe, and the knowledge she was searching for was her true essence all along. Ishana's presence helped her transcend the illusions of the mind, guiding her to discover self-realization. Ishana represents the unconscious wisdom within every being. His teachings inspire us to look beyond surface appearances, to search for the truth within, and to cultivate knowledge with humility and compassion. Through Ishana, Shiva teaches that the greatest knowledge we seek is found in the realization of our divine nature. During Mahashivratri, devotees praise Ishana. They seek blessings for knowledge and clarity. It is believed that on this sacred night, Ishana helps remove ignorance and enables one to realize their true nature. During this festival, devotees chant the Panchakshar mantra. Isna sarvavidyanamisvarah sarvabhutnam brahmadipti brahmanodhiptir. Brahma sivo me astusa eva sadashiva om. The meaning of this mantra is: Ruler of all knowledge, Master of all beings, Commander of all study and devotion, that God auspicious to me, be he just so, the ever auspicious Om. The 5 faces of Mahadev Shiva represent the 5 senses. Each phase imparts a life lesson. They encourage us to cultivate the divine qualities within us. The 5-faced Shiva inspires us to seek balance, face challenges with courage, and strive toward self-exploration under divine guidance.